For, 4 decades now, science has been chasing this one virus it just can't seem to catch. A virus that is constantly, and I mean constantly, outsmarting our best defenses. That virus, of course, is HIV. And today, we're going to break down exactly what makes it so incredibly difficult to stop.
So, let's just start with a number. A huge number. Since 1981, HIV has infected over 72 million people. Now, to put that into perspective for you, that's more than the 50 million people who died in traffic accidents all over the world during that same period. So yeah, this isn't just another virus. It's one of the biggest public health crises of our time.
And that, right there, leads to the big question. With all of our incredible medical advancements, why is a vaccine for HIV still so hard to pin down after 4 decades of really intense research? What makes this virus so different? Well, the answer really boils down to this one kind of deceptive quality the virus has. It's not that HIV is uniquely powerful or anything. The thing is, it has this one incredible trick up its sleeve that just stumps scientists. Its ability to constantly change its appearance. You can think of it like a tiny, microscopic shapeshifter. And this ever-changing disguise, that's the absolute key to its survival. Okay, so this shapeshifting is actually a biological process, and it's called mutation. Every single time the HIV virus replicates, every time it makes a new copy of itself, its genetic code changes just a tiny bit. It's never making a perfect clone, it's always creating a slightly new version of itself. In that right there, that is the perfect way to think about the problem for scientists trying to make a vaccine. A vaccine is basically a key, right? It's designed to fit one very specific lock, the virus. But with HIV, the lock is constantly changing its shape, so a key that worked yesterday is pretty much useless today. Okay, so we know the virus is a moving target. But what happens once this sly little invader actually gets inside your body? Well, it doesn't just launch some big direct assault. No, it plays a much more sinister game. HIV is more like a saboteur. Instead of causing harm directly, its genius lies in systematically taking apart the body's own defense system, leaving you wide open and vulnerable to other infections you could normally fight off.
So to really get what's happening in this internal civil war, you got to meet the two main players. On one side, you have the CD4 cells. Think of them as the generals of your immune system. They're the ones calling the shots and coordinating the whole defense. And on the other side, you've got the CD8 cells. These are the soldiers who actually go out and do the fighting, destroying infected cells.
HIV's game plan is actually brutally simple. First, it sneaks into one of those CD4 generals. Then it basically turns that cell into a virus-making factory, forcing it to churn out thousands of new copies of the virus. These new viruses then burst out, killing the cell in the process, and immediately go on to infect more and more generals. You know, this first takeover, it happens fast, in just a couple of weeks. And that kicks off this long, brutal war with the CD8 soldiers. A war that can go on for up to a decade until the immune system is finally overwhelmed.
But here's the thing. We haven't just been sitting back and letting this happen. While a vaccine has been tough, we've developed a really impressive arsenal of drugs to mess with HIV's whole cycle. They're called antiretrovirals. Now, these don't cure the virus, but what they do is pretty brilliant. They expertly interfere with its ability to copy itself and spread.
And we've got a few different ways to attack it. So you've got replication blockers, which basically jam the virus's copy machine. Entry inhibitors act like bodyguards for the CD4 cells, making it harder for the virus to get in. Integration blockers stop the virus from hiding its DNA inside our own. And some even act like stun guns, slowing the virus down as it tries to move around. But the real game changer? It was figuring out how to combine these drugs. Today, a single pill can pack a whole cocktail of these inhibitors, and that has transformed HIV from what was once a death sentence into a manageable chronic condition for millions of people.
So yeah, treatment has come a long way. But the ultimate goal, that's always been a true vaccine, a way to stop the infection from ever happening in the first place. And while the road has been incredibly long and difficult, there have been some very real moments of hope.
So let's jump to the most significant trial we've seen so far. The year is 2009, in Thailand. Scientists conducted this massive study with 16,000 volunteers. It was a huge moment, really, the result of years and years of painstaking work.
And the results? They were a genuine breakthrough. The group that got the real vaccine showed a 31% lower rate of infection compared to the group that got a placebo. For the very first time, we had real concrete proof that a vaccine could actually work against HIV. But, and this is the big but, 31%, while amazing, just wasn't high enough for it to be approved for everybody. A successful vaccine needs to offer way more protection than that. Still, it wasn't a failure, not at all. That trial taught scientists so much about which immune responses were actually helping, giving them vital clues for the next generation of vaccines. And so, that search continues.
And so, that brings us right back to the fundamental challenge, right? This is the question that I'm sure keeps scientists up at night. Defeating HIV isn't just about finding the right key for a lock, it's about trying to design a master key for a lock that changes its shape every single day. The fight is far, far from over.